catching you in good health and prosperity. And I'm hoping you're having one of the best days of your life. If you're not having the best day of your life, then you just gotta put aside everything and just remember you're alive this morning. The most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, is you're alive today. And if you're alive today, that means no matter what's going on in your life, if you just wait it out, if you just be curious and let the day finish. And if tomorrow comes for you, let tomorrow finish. And if the next day comes for you, let the next day finish. Let it just be curious to see the outcome. And I'm telling you, you have to be around to see it. If you end it, it's done. Be curious. Let it play out. Give it time. Because one thing I love about the future is that though tomorrow never comes, because once tomorrow show up, it's now today. The future is today. So the decisions that you make today is what's going to guide your tomorrow. It's what's going to lead you tomorrow. The seeds you plant today is that which you're going to reap tomorrow. The things you do today is either going to benefit you or it's going to destroy you. So the choice is yours. Hi, my name is Meka Albania Osharalin. Welcome. Welcome once again to Truth Matters Broadcasting, where we discern the truth about religion, the kingdom of the Creator, and the church. This is very, very important, man. This broadcast is amazing because it gives you an opportunity not to doctrinate you or to tell you what to think or how to think, but it gives you an opportunity to think for yourself. And that's what our goal is. Our goal here is to open up your mind to things you probably have never heard, or open up your mind to things you're going to hear that's going to make your blood boil. I'm not trying to be your friend. If you think I'm trying to be your friend, then you have another thing coming. I'm trying to be your brother. I'm trying to be the bearer of true good news. I'm trying to be the bearer of one who restore truth to the believer. And so with that said, let me just say to you now, for those who are watching me live on these 4 networks, we're streamed on 4 different networks: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Let me just say live to all of you who the great Creator has opened up the opportunity for you right now to hear what I have to say. Just know this for certain. We have been bamboozled. We have been lied to. We have been misled. And the deception is still live and well. And we have been living in it for years. And it's now for us to stop, because repentance means to stop. The message is to repent. Why? Because, for the reason, here's the reason: the kingdom of heaven is here. Now, you might hear me say that. You might read it somewhere and you think I'm religious. You think I'm coming to you from a religious perspective. Let me just debunk that by telling you I am not here to uphold or to sanction any religion. I publicly denounce every religion. Let that sink in just now, because you hear me using word from the Bible, and you might think I'm being religious. I've done a message, and I've done several messages to prove to you that the Bible is not a religious book. It was not meant to be a religious book, and it's not a religious book. But when you look at the Bible from a religious perspective, then all you can see is the box by which that perspective has trapped you in. And so your religion has become your doom. It has become your trap. A matter of fact, if you were to look at the Bible, you will see that the word was mentioned twice. The word religion was mentioned twice in the Bible. And not one it's ever called you to be religious. And it's all New Testament. And that's something you have to understand about New Testament. When the New Testament was written, it wasn't written by those who were alive at the time. You must understand this. The New Testament was not written in the time when the so-called New Testament was preached. They never taught New Testament. None of the prophet has ever taught New Testament. None of the disciples has ever taught New Testament. Check this. And the so-called Jesus never taught New Testament. As a matter of fact, I did a message on that too, letting you know that Jesus, the one you claim to be God, just from reading the transliterated version of the Bible, Jesus is not a Christian. So that should make your blood boil. I hope I'm boiling your blood, because my intent is to boil your blood. Let me go further into saying, if you cannot trace your lineage through the Atlantic slave trade, if you cannot trace your lineage through the Atlantic slave trade, I am not speaking to you. I am speaking in your hearing, but I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to those who can trace their lineage through the Atlantic slave trade. I am not speaking to every black people either. If you have a melanin skin, I am not speaking to you unless you can trace your lineage through the Atlantic slave trade. I'm really not talking to you. This message is not for you. See, I was sent, but only to the lost sheep of Yahusha Al. Now, you might hear me say, you might hear the word Israel when you read it in the King James transliterated version of the Bible. You will hear the word you will hear the word Israel. Now, I've said this many, many times. I am trying my very hardest not to use the word Israel. Because when I use the word or the name Israel, you're not looking at people like me. You're not looking at those who can trace their lineage through the Atlantic slave trade. You're looking at those who are now occupying the promised land. That's where you're looking. And if you're looking there, you will never see the truth, because you must understand, to find the truth, you need to find the information that is the truth. No one wants the labor pain anymore. They just want the baby. Forget the facts. Forget the facts. Just tell us the story. No one wants the facts anymore. They just want the story. Tell us the story. They love the story. We don't want the name. We just want the name. Let us use your name, they say. And what they don't understand is that the power is in the name. Because the name leads to the person. The name leads to the creator. So it's very important, the name. So now that I get that out there, if you cannot trace your lineage to the Atlantic slave trade and you choose to stay and listen, you're going to hear some things that it's gonna hurt. Because I deal with slavery a lot here on this channel. Not according to the enslavement that they taught us in school when we were growing up from the 1600s, as to say the validity of the true people of Yahusha Al, the true bloodline seed of the covenant, starts at the Atlantic slave trade. It doesn't start there. It literally started with a man, one single man, whose name was Abram, which was the great-great-grandson of Noah, aka Noach. So when you chase the lineage and understand the truth, then the truth will set you free. I have here a quote that I'm going to read to you, if I can get this thing open. And the quote says, hold on, let's get in there. Let's see here. I think this is it. The quote says, listen to this, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from political, economic, and or military consequence of the lie. It thus become vitally important for the state to use all of its power and resources to suppress disdain for the truth is the moral enemy of the lie. I want you to listen now. The truth is the moral enemy of the lie. And thus, by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state. Now, one time I called the person's name and all of a sudden I was banned off TikTok. So I can't call the person's name nowadays. But I can tell you the man with the beard, the man with this funny mustache. Right? And I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to pay attention to the understanding. The truth is the natural enemy of the lie. Therefore, the truth is the enemy of the state. And that's where religion comes in. That's where government comes in. Because what most people don't know when they hear the word government, you don't understand that there's a government for the people and there's a government for the insider. And the insiders are the one that's running the government for the people. Therefore, the government, well, that is based upon the laws or our constitution of so-called democracy, what people don't understand, it's being controlled by those elites who are governing the people and bending the people to their will. And they're using every power at their disposal. And so media has to be taken into account. Television, TV, the television, the platforms you now see. You cannot speak the truth on these platforms. You are incited as an erection, one who will that is disrupting the status quo. You are banned. Anytime someone come up on here and start speaking the truth, I can't tell you how many times TikTok has banned my and deleted my page. I can't tell you how many times Instagram has taken my voice. They don't even ban me anymore because I keep coming back. So they just take my voice. So you'll go on Instagram and you'll watch my video and you can't hear a thing. You'll see my mouth going for 2 hours. You don't hear a thing. I can't tell you how many times Facebook has banned me and suspended my account for 30 days. And even when I fought them, even when I sent the message and said, okay, listen, let's just for argument's sake say that I am guilty of what you're saying I'm guilty of. Where's my trial? Isn't not under the Constitution of democracy a man is innocent until proven guilty? Where's the opportunity for me to speak my words in defense of myself? But one thing I've learned too, when a man tries to defend himself, he's automatically guilty in the eyes of those who he's trying to defend himself from. That's why I love the Messiah. He always remains silent. Because when a man is determined to, at his power and will, to distort the truth, he's not looking for the truth from you, because the truth is going to expose the lie. Light and darkness cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So if I'm speaking truth on a platform I don't own nor can control, guess what's going to happen? They're going to ban me. But I keep coming back because you can't stop truth no matter what you do. I keep coming back. So today, I want to ask you to really take the time to talk about it. Talk about it. You know, we talk about racism in this country. We talk about systemic racism, which many seems to think and believe none exist, that it doesn't exist anymore. Redlining doesn't exist anymore because one or two of us can buy houses and have businesses and have bank account and portfolio. They don't think, listen, systemic racism is about a race. Now, let me share with you that I'm not ignorant about it. I'm not ignorant that there's only one race. There's no such thing as race. So when we use the word race, we're using it in a distinct form to say the black race, white race, Puerto Rican, Spanish, Mexicans, etc. So when I use the word race, understand that I do understand the meaning that there's one race from one man. The Creator created all man. And that one man is the black man. Whether you want to believe it, understand it, whether you want to accept it or not, all human beings come out of the black man, the black woman. Black man, the first man. Black woman, the first woman. And they were created whole. They weren't born. We don't know how old Adam was when he was created. He was created a human being and he was created as an adult. So time and years were created in Adam. That is why the Creator says, I believe the Creator says, it's not good for Adam to be all in one, you see, alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. That's why the enemy has to attack the helper. Because you see, if the enemy of truth didn't attack the helper, he understands that the man cannot produce by himself. He needs a helper. And so what the enemy of truth did, he gets to Eve in the garden and corrupt Eve in the garden, because those that would come out of Eve would have been born in righteousness. And they would have access to the tree of life and live forever. So he corrupted Eve and Adam in the garden by through this very strong word, deception. Deception. And when they conceive the sin or the disobedience in deception, their children was conceived in deception. They were conceived in unrighteousness. And because of that, the sins of the father is visited upon the children for 4 generations. Not one of those children was born in the Garden of Eden. They born outside because they were expelled. The Creator longed to dwell with man, dwell in the midst of us. He longed, his ambition is to be with us, that the world and the heathens may know that he is the true and living Creator. When they see him dwelling amongst his people, my people say Yahweh. This is very important to understand. And to understand it, you have to go through the line, the lineage, the seed of Abram. Not all his seed, but the seed of the promise. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and now the 12 tribes of Yahushua. If you have not checked him out, you need to. The Ravenous Bird. Ravenous. The Ravenous Bird is among us. Prophesied by Yahweh. in Yeshayahu, Isaiah 46:11. The man who he has prepared to restore his counsel, to execute his counsel. And so that man is here among us. And we're learning now to read the language in our original language, not the Hebrew that was given to us by these people who are Jewish, but the true Hebrew language of the Gabare, the source language, that which all these versions supposedly mysteriously come from. We can trust that Yahweh will preserve his words throughout all generations. It's what he said, it's what he did. I want to look up the word religion, because one of the biggest deception we have today is religion. And this program is centered around religion, the kingdom of the Creator, and the church. It's a discernment that you have to have. Because if you without it, you're going to be walking in darkness. Deception. The Messiah was asked, what shall be the sign of your coming and the end of age? And the first thing out of his mouth was, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying this, saying that, and shall deceive many. Many false prophets shall rise, and the love of many shall wax cold. And so you have to find the information, find a way to know who's telling the truth from who's telling a lie. Now, according to the scriptures, the Torah, according to the scriptures, the prophet tells us that if we speak not according to the law, that is the Torah, and the testimonies, that is the Torah, which is the prophet and the Psalms and etc., if they speak not according to this law, there's no truth in them. There's no truth. So if they're speaking outside of the Torah and the Torah, it's a lie. It's a damn lie. The Messiah said, think not that I've come to destroy the law or the testimonies. I've not come to destroy them. He's also said, until heaven and earth pass, not one dot will be omitted. He also said, anyone who teach the least of the commandments shall be called great if they teach and do them. Anyone doesn't do and teach them shall be called least. He also fulfilled the word by saying the greatest commandments are commandment in all of the law is to love the Creator, Yahweh, with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And that the second is like the first, to love thy neighbor as thyself. Now, when you look upon this, you will realize to love Yahweh with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, fulfill all the commands from his mouth. To love thy neighbor as thyself, fulfill all the commands from his mouth. But understand, to love thy neighbor as thyself, that is Torah. That is not the 10 command or the Decalogue written with the hands of Yahweh, spoken with his mouth. That is the Torah. So to fulfill love, to sum up all of the laws of Yahweh, which is 1880, is to love him and to love your neighbor, your brother. That's the fulfillment. It's all based on love. The opposite of that is hate. So you must understand the basics. So we're going to look up the word religion, because religion is something that you need to understand how it plays a role in your deception. Now, you don't want to hear that because it hurt. You see, it hurt because your mama was what you are. Your daddy was what you are. You're a Christian because your mama was a Christian. Your grandma was a Christian. Somebody in your family line was a Christian. You were Islam or Muslim because you were born in a country that stated that this religion is the state religion. If you're born in India, then Buddha or China, Krishna or Buddha is your God, based upon the geographical sector of which you were born. America was primarily a Christian nation, because America is your European. America is Rome. So it speaks like a lamb, looks like a lamb, speaks like a dragon. America is Rome. And that is why you have multiple facets of, well, let's look at it this way. That is why you have a law which encourage the freedom of religion. Because that's how you deceive the people into thinking you're giving them freedom and giving them the rights to worship anyhow they see fit. Now we know that that is not Torah, because Torah tells us, thou shalt have no other gods beside me. We cannot worship the Creator amongst other gods. That is why he took us out of Egypt in the first place. What did he say? Go tell little fox there. Go tell Pharaoh, let my people go so they will come out here and what? Worship me, serve me in the wilderness, where I can make them into a great nation, a nation that is a royal priesthood, a peculiar people, set above all people. Can they worship the one true Allah, the one true God? But instead, they intermingle with the nations around them. They worship the gods of the nation. They marry in and marry out of the marry in to the belief system. In other words, they committed adultery with the nations. They want so much to be like the nations, they reject Yahweh. And when you reject Yahweh, you have to reject his words. You have to reject what he said. And because of that, we were pushed into slavery. Sin is slavery. And they create, the system creates religion. Because you must understand, in order for a law to take resident in the subconscious mind and the fertile mind, the frontal lobe, the mind of a human being, of a person, it must be deified. It must be deified. The subject must believe it is their inalienable rights, if I say that right. They must believe that these laws comes from God. Therefore, they can put their lives behind it and die if so be it. And so to deify something, you have to control it through the governing bodies of religion. You see, the religion answer to the government. That's why you have state religions. That's why when America was formed, the law says you are free. You are free to practice your own religion. Because they didn't want to be a dictative state. They have to have an awareness, or have to have, or give people the impression that they are a land of the free. Democracy ain't free, ladies and gentlemen. It has an illusion of freedom, but democracy ain't free. A matter of fact, America is not a democracy. People don't know it's not even written in the Constitution that these people are swear to uphold. America is a republic. That's why when you make a pledge, you don't pledge to the flag of the of democracy. You pledge to the flag of the republic for which it stands. And so most people don't realize that they're deceived by democracy. And if you look all over the world, America invade every country on this planet to bring in democracy. The big fight over there now, it's all about democracy. So religion is used as a way to curve and arrest the minds of the believer. What is religion? Most people say they're religious, but they never took the time to look up the word. What is religion? What is the definition of religion according to their own standard? Here it is, and I read: the belief in and the worship of a superhuman power. That is the definition that I got from the Oxford Language Dictionary. What is religion? This is the noun. This is what religion, this is the standard of religion. And it came first. The belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods. Now, why didn't they say the worship of the creator? Why they put a superhuman power there? You see, a superhuman power, ladies and gentlemen, is a system. That's how you're controlled. You're being controlled by a system. Democracy is a system of laws that governs your behavior, created by humans. So a religion is the belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods. That is why America don't mind you worshiping any gods, because they understand that the worship of these god or gods is a system of worship that they put together. So if you worship this God, you worship that God, they don't care. They don't mind. Even if you were to worship the true and living God, within that system are amongst that system or beside that system, they know you would be in violation. So they don't care. Let's look at the similar and let's look and see what it says here. It says a particular system of faith and worship. That's a plural noun. Religions. A particular system of faith and worship. So what is religion? A particular system of faith and worship. Let's look at one more here. A pursuit or interest to which someone ascribe supreme importance. You must understand, ladies and gentlemen, it never says religion is the worship of the Creator. You notice it never said that? And when it used the word God and gods, you think automatically, when you hear the word God, you're thinking of the Creator, because the system program you to think the word God means Creator, or it's a title for the Creator. As a matter of fact, you read it in the Bible, for crying out loud. It must be talking to the Creator, because there's only one God. Ladies and gentlemen, there's not only one God. And if you can get that into your thick skulls, there are more than one God. What you need to understand, and what they don't tell you, is that there is one true God. That's what you're not getting. What did the Creator told the children of Yahusha when he took them out of the land of Egypt? He says, if you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth are mine. You shall be unto me, he says, a kingdom of priests, a holy nation, a royal priesthood. That's the first thing he told them. When he comes down upon the mountain and spoke to them face to face, when they hear him face to face, is he up there, they down here, they didn't see his natural face, but they hear his natural voice. See, before, they were taking the message from secondhand. Yahweh speaks to Masha and Aaron, and they speak to the people. But today, on this special day, this sanctified holy day, he came down on the mountain and he opened his mouth and they heard him. So now they believe Moses and Masha forever, because they knew he wasn't lying. They saw the plagues in Egypt. They saw all that was done. As a matter of fact, the first thing he said to them, he said, you've seen what I did to the Egyptians and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. That's the first thing he said, before he said, if you obey my voice. The call was obedience to what I say. The call was to keep his covenant. That was the call. And so when he come down on Mount Sinai, the first thing out of his mouth, when they heard his literal voice, I am Yahweh, he says. I am Yahweh who have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. That came out of the Creator mouth himself. So the first thing you need to understand when you hear the word God, don't automatically assume that they are talking about the Creator. Because the word God, you must understand, is worship. Listen, there's a guy on the Breakfast Club. He called himself Charlemagne the God. That's what he called himself. Go ask him why he named himself a God. He understands something you and I didn't understand at the time. So when we hear somebody say, I am God, they go like, what? Because you're comparing Charlemagne to the Creator. There's another rapper who said this. What's his name? Kanye West. When he said he's a God, everybody just get all they get all. But is he saying that he is the Creator? Is that what he's saying? As a matter of fact, is it not written in the Bible, in the law of Masha, in the Toyota, that we are gods? It's written here in the Psalms. Does that mean that we're the Creator? No. But can we be worshipped? How many false prophets came and took millions of people, thousands of people, collectively millions of people, but thousands of people, bring them into a desert and kill them off. They all drink all kind of Satan's poison themselves. That's the influence of the power of the godlike complex. Anyone who rules over you is God over you. That's why your government is your God. That is why the Constitution is your God. That is why the laws of your church is your God. That's why the denomination is your God, because you're operating by their covenant, by their voice. Anyone who commands you and you obey that commandment, they are your gods. And your religion is your God. Your religion is your husband. I'm going to give you one more. Your religion is your owner. You are a slave to your religion. You just don't understand it because your eyes are not open to see it. Whatever your religion tells you to do, you do it. You never question it. You never even ask the question, how did my religion come into being? Where did it come from? Who created it? Who started it? Why? Because all of the people, all of the men who has deceived you through religion told you that the creator of heaven and earth give them the information to give you. But ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to understand is this. You have a mouth, don't you? You have eyes to see and ears to hear. You have a brain to think. And for years, centuries, millennia, you were told what to think. They made it a law that you can't think for yourself. It was called heresy. To be a heretic is decided. The definition of a heretic is one who thinks and decide for oneself. Millions of people died because they decided to think for themselves. Millions. And I'm telling you, you have a mouth, you have an ear, and you have a brain. What I'm here suggesting to you is that you can go to the Creator for yourself. You don't need Meka'al. You don't need no pastor, no government, no preacher. If you truly want to know him, go to him. You don't know someone. What do you do? What the first thing you do? If you want to know somebody, you introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Meka'al Banya Osher. What is yours? Because if you're going to worship a God, the first thing you need to know about that God is his name. What is your name? I got too many names here. I got Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Yode Vave. There's too many names here to choose from. I'm confused. And all these people who come up with these names are telling me that this is your name. And I'm saying there's too many people. Who should I believe? You see, there's a scripture that says, ask and you shall receive. Seek, you shall find. Knock, and the doors shall be open unto you. So you're without excuse, because you're blown by every wind of teachings, and you never took the time to just look up. Our Father who art in heaven. Look up, man. Hallowed be thy name. How can you truly pray that prayer? To say, holy, set apart is your name when you don't know his name. It's very important. What is your name? Start there. Start there. Because anything you're worshiping has a name. Anything you worship has a name. What is your name? Start there. And I'm telling you, if he tells you his name, or if he led you to his name, then when you have conversation with him, you have to call upon his name. And the children of Yahusha call upon the name of Yahweh. I can't tell you how many times I hear people try to interpret that passage of scripture. If I said, and Tony call upon my name, or if you're telling the story to someone, if you're giving someone the information, man, he was in the street, but he called for his daddy. I tell you, if I'm in the street and I'm calling daddy, what I'm depending on is that daddy hears and recognizes my voice. Because that's the only way daddy's going to come to me, is only if he hear and recognize my voice. You get where I'm coming from? But if I call daddy's name, regardless of the fact if he recognize my voice, regardless of the fact if he recognize my voice, he gonna look. Doesn't matter who's calling. No matter who's calling, if they call my name, if they call his name, he gonna look. Because that's what you do when you hear your name. And there's no sweeter sound to your ears than the sound of your own name. What is his name? Yahweh. What is his name? Yahweh. What is his name? Yahweh. Yahweh is his name. I learned this name because I asked him, what is your name? And he sent me to the ravenous bird, the man he has chosen, the man from the east. See, when the kingdom of heaven, when you find that treasure hidden in the field, you don't go sell everything you have and buy the treasure, ladies and gentlemen. You sell everything you have and buy the field. And that's what I did. I bought the field. I want everything. And that's how I learned who I am. That I am the children of Yahusha. That's how I learn. Because I keep asking the Creator to put his ruach on me. You see, his ruach is what you call Holy Spirit. In the source language, we understand this word to mean roke. And when he put his roke on you, his roke will guide you into all truth. And this is what people don't understand. You're looking for truth, but you have no help. You need his roke. You need his roke. It's the roke. You can have all the head knowledge you want. You can have all the information you want. But if you don't have the roke, you have nothing. He has to seal you with the roke. Because it's he who is going to guide you. It is he who's going to put you in the path of the person you're listening to now, so that you can hear something you've never heard, so that you can go question it and you can pray. I'm telling you, the truth will destroy, obliterate your religion. You can't have truth and remain in your religion. It's impossible. The truth will obliterate your religion. Because you see, the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, the Creator has never started a religion. No prophet has ever preached or proclaimed, "Thus saith Yahweh," and then religion come out of their mouth. James said it in the book of James. That's Matthew. But I told you, when James was alive, there was no Matthew. There was no book of Matthew. There was no New Testament. They never preach New Testament. They preach Torah, Toyota. That's what they preach. So, here are the facts. The facts is the Creator, Yahweh, of the heavens and the earth and all that in them is, has made a contract with Abraham. And the contract was that through Abraham's seed, the world would be blessed. You must understand the relationship that Abraham had with the Creator was not based on a religion. It was not based on ritualism, which means every week he has to go here and do this and sing prayers or bow down 5 times a day. Or it was not based upon any of that. It was based on a covenant, a contract. Yahweh gave some instructions. Abraham do those instructions. That is the relationship. A covenant is a contract. A contract is binding until one person break it. When one of the parties break the contract becomes nullified. Therefore, a new contract has to be put in place. And based upon what the Creator said, according to Psalms 89:34, one of my scriptures I keep going back to over and over and over again, Psalms 89 verse 34, the Creator says, "My covenant, my contract will I not break, nor alter the things that gone out of my lips." You see, the first thing he told us, you've seen what I did to the Egyptians and how I bear you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Now, if you obey my voice. So whatever he said, he cannot change what he said because he commanded us to obey his voice. So if he told us not to eat pork, ladies and gentlemen, if he spoke the words, "Don't eat pork," there's no way in the universe can he comes back a second time and tell me to eat it? Because if he does, he just violate his own words. He just broke his own word. And he says, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the things that gone on my lips. That means what he said is what is. The Messiah that was sent only to the lost sheep of Yahushua wasn't sent to the world. Don't let anyone fool you. The translation make you think he was sent to the world. He was not sent to the world. He was sent only to the lost sheep of Yahushua. And he said to the deceiver himself, to the devil himself, Satan, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceed out of the mouth of Yahweh. So I don't think you can get away. We say, well, not what goes into the belly that makes the man unclean, but that what comes out of the man's heart. That's what makes him unclean, what come out of his mouth. And then there's a little, footnotes underneath that saying, because anything you see in quotations are with small words, mean it's not in the original text. By saying this, that he declare all foods clean. Now, you have to look at what he said before and after. Think not that I've come to change or destroy that which was said before. I did not come to destroy it, but to fulfill it. So how can he tell you you can eat anything? How can he tell you you can eat anything when Yahweh, the Father, clearly say you can't eat that? And if you really pay attention to him, he says, man, I do nothing on my own. Everything I speak is that which the Father command me to speak. I didn't come of my own accord or do anything of myself. It's the Father in me that doeth the work, he says. Therefore, if the Father is in him that doeth the work, how is it the Father going to tell through him that you can eat anything? That's him violating his own words. So if you're eating pork, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I tell you, this message is for Yahushua. Speak to the children of Yahushua and tell them this. The world eat pork. The world and the nations do abominable things. That's what they do. Because they worship abominable gods. They don't worship the God of the creator of the heaven and earth. That is why a contract is made between Abraham's seed and the creator. That's why we keep Shabbat. That's why we keep the laws of Yahweh. Because we are showing through our actions who we believe. The world doesn't obey the creator. The world does not obey the creator. That's why the world eat pork. That's why the world eat abominable foods. You see, pork is not food for a true Hebrew. Shrimps is not pork for a true Hebrews. We're commanded not to eat those things. We're commanded not to eat certain fish. That's why we don't eat squid. Because squid doesn't have scale and fins. There's a specific food that the Creator has given us, and he said, this is clean for you. The nation doesn't do it. He didn't give these laws to the nation. The nations does not worship him. A matter of fact, the nation are his enemies. People don't understand this today. You think Europe is a God-fearing nation. You think Islam is a God-fearing nation. You think America is a God-fearing nation. There's no nation on earth that worship the Creator. None. Not one nation on earth worship the Creator of heaven and earth. Not one. There's not one religion on earth that worships the Creator of heaven and earth. Not one. I want to say that again because you're hearing me and you're surprised at what I'm saying. But look at Israel. I'm telling you, Israel does not worship the Creator. Israel depends on America to supply it with aid. Tell me any time in our history, the history of the true people of God, where we call to any nations that doesn't piss for help, that doesn't piss off the Creator. There is no, I'm going to say it again. I think I'm going to say it a couple more times, so prepare to hear it. There is no nation on earth. There's no nation on earth right now, no nation on earth that worship the Creator. None. They all have worship. They all have religion. You can't have a nation without a worship. Either they're going to worship the king as God, or the prime minister as God, or the president as God. You can't have a nation without a worship, without a deity. There is no nation on earth that worships the Creator. Again, there is no religion on earth that worships the Creator. None whatsoever. None. There are individuals on earth that worship the Creator, but there's no nation and no religion. Understand this. Because if you don't get this, you're lost. You see, where is the nation of Yahushua? You are made to believe that Israel is the nation of the Creator. I am here to tell you that is not true. That nation that was bought and paid for by the Rothschild. And if you didn't know, the Rothschild are Jewish. If you didn't know it, you must understand what's happening here. But let me not go into that history. Let's just go into the facts. Because you want the story, but I want to give you the facts. The facts to know the true bloodline of the covenant promise. You have to go to Torah. And you will find that in Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 through 68. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the true children of the promised seed of Abraham, the covenant making, keeping people, have to have three major clues in their history to pinpoint the true people of the promised seed of Abraham. Clue number one, they must have 400 years. First and foremost, let's go back. I'm going to give you 4 clues. Clue number one, they have to be connected by blood. By blood. Listen to me. Not by belief. Not adaptation here. Not grafted in here. No. They can't be grafted in. They cannot be adopted illegitimate children. No, they have to have the blood, the DNA, the haplogroup. They have to connect by blood to Abraham. They have to be able to chase their lineage back to Abraham. That's number one. The most important thing about this chasing your lineage back to Abraham, there's many groups out here today that can trace their lineage back to Abraham. Ishmael and his 12 sons can trace their lineage back to Abraham. Esau and his nations can trace their lineage back to Abraham. But Ishmael and Esau does not have the covenant promise. No contract was made with Ishmael, Ya'o Shma'al. No contract was made with Esau, Gasho. A contract was made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So they have to be able to trace their lineage through the contract. Jacob, Isaac, Abraham. That's rule or clue number one. Clue number two, they have to have 400 years of enslavement. Now we can see Ishmael doesn't have it. They don't have 400 years of chattel slavery. Esau doesn't have it. Here, who does not have it either? Those people who claim to be Jews living in Jerusalem, fighting this war, this holy war. They don't have 400 years of enslavement. So rule number one, when you're trying to find truth, you have to rule them out. Which is based on history here. If it can't show you 400 years of enslavement, according to Deuteronomy 28, because you see, Yahweh, the creator, told the children of Yahusha, tell Abraham, before you even have children, your children will be in a land not their own. They will be enslaved 400 years. And after the 400 years, I will come and destroy the nation they worship as slave. Now, you must look at Deuteronomy 28. You must look at the Torah. When the children of Yahusha was enslaved in Egypt, they were not enslaved 400 years. And number two, they did not have Torah nor iota. So you have to rule out the Egypt enslavement as that 400 years. Because one, they never was enslaved 400 years in physical Egypt. Got to rule that out. So though it was written in the time of the Exodus, after the Exodus, when they went to Mount Sinai, it was for future event. And you have to follow the children of Yahusha from Moshe to Joshua to Judges, all the way up. You will find out that every time they would disobey Yahweh, they will be enslaved, killed, treated harshly. But they never last 400 years. Because as time and time again, Yahweh would send a prophet, a deliverer, to restore Torah, to restore his contract between him and his people. And when they adhere to the contract, he would lift them out of slavery, restore them to power, restore them as a nation. And then they'll enjoy peace and prosperity until that generation die and another generation come up. And that has been our history. Until the temple were destroyed and we were dismantled being a nation, and then we were taken into Babylon. There they change our names and give us names of their gods and calling us Belshazzar. What they call Daniel? Belshazzar, I believe it is. Change our names and give us names after their gods. But we held on to our God. And our creator Our Father who art in heaven did incredible miracles, even though we were in captive, because we kept calling upon his name. And finally, after the destruction of Babylon, through Medo-Persian, the Persian kingdom came in and destroyed the Babylonian kingdom. And he sent Cyrus to give us the opportunity to go back and build the temple. But you got to look at the true history of that, because Cyrus never uphold his end of the bargain. But we managed to get the walls built and the temple built. But then you have the Greek Empire who come and destroy the Persian Empire. And of course, again, we were captive to the Greek Empire. That's where you see all your Bibles come from and all these different things come from. They take our literature, they burn them, but they kept, well, they burn a few of them, but they kept the most important of languages and most important of information, and they bring it back to their place of hiding. And then that's when they study our languages, you force us to become like them, and give us high places and give us noble places, and we now serve at their altar. And they learn our language and mistranslate our language and hand it back to us. Because to control a people is to control them through religion. They understood this. Because when you fight for your religion, you can't be controlled. When you fight for your God, you cannot be controlled. Because you pledge your life to your belief. So to control the people is to control their belief. So they give us versions of the Bible. And they make up and whitewash our God and whitewash and put themselves in the image of the God we worship. And so we start worshiping the image of their God, the white image. You see, because when you look at and you start to see the image of the God you worship in the image of the people who are subjected you to slavery, then you just deify the people and rise them above you. You remember Yahweh said when he took us out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, he says, "You shall be a peculiar people above all people." So because of our disobedience, we come from above to beneath. And that's why we're beneath all people, even to this day. And America is a great place to learn this lesson. That's why, Americans were born there. Black people were born there in America. It's the land of their birth. They were born there. But Arabs can come in and get loan and build up shops in the black neighborhoods. And the black people can't get those same loans to build up their own shop. You have the Chinese people can come in and get loans to build in your neighborhood. But you can't get loan to build in your neighborhood. Forget about going into their neighborhoods to build. They're exploiting you. Every nation can come and get loans and get houses in your neighborhood, but you can't get no loan and you can't go into their neighborhoods. You go into their neighborhoods, guess what happened? You're followed by the cops. What are you doing here? Who do you know here? You can't be here. Let's go. Out. But they can come in your neighborhood easy. Walk up and down. Nobody question them. Matter of fact, now you see gentrification is when they come into your neighborhood and they take your neighborhoods. But they prevent you from coming into their neighborhoods. And so you might see one black couple living in a white neighborhood. And you don't see that again for miles. And when more black people start coming into their neighborhood, they start looking at you like, oh, we're going to have to do something about that. And sometimes they'll come and offer you more money for your house. They'll offer you so much money. You want to live in this neighborhood, but the money's so great, you take it because you don't got any money. And that's what's been happening, ladies and gentlemen. Gentrification. Or they come in your neighborhood and they rent is skyrocket. So you were paying $600 for the one-bedroom apartment, but they come in your neighborhood and they pay $1,500 for that same one-bedroom apartment. because where they used to live, they were paying 3,000. So when they come into your neighborhood, they're now paying 1,500, and that's cheap for them, but that's expensive for you. So now the landlord is working is very hard to get you out of the apartment, so he can rent it to other people who are coming to make more money, and it's business. That's how gentrification comes in. So until you own your buildings, until you own your stores, until you own these things, you will never have peace. But here's the thing: even when you own your buildings and own your stores and own everything, guess what? Who owns the supply of everything you're getting? So even if you own the building, own your stores, own everything, guess who owns the supplies? Because what you need to understand, black people, you can't be a nation within a nation. And Yahweh will not have it. He didn't send you to the land of your enslavement so that you can flourish. He sent you to the land of your enslavement so you can be punished. You have to understand, so you can be punished. And he will never free you in the land of your enslavement. That don't make no sense. What would be the lesson? If he wants you to be a nation that worship him, how can you worship him in the land of your enslavement? Explain it to me. How can you be a nation within a nation unless you're more powerful than that nation? Like the Vatican. That's why the Vatican can be a nation within a nation, because the Vatican runs the world. The Vatican is Rome. People don't understand this. The Pope is the high priest, the head of all pagan religion. He's also the head, the spiritual leader of the United Nations. So who you think running the world, partner? And if you don't realize it, all the presidents, every president bow down to Rome. That's why they come in black suits, and the president's wife wear black gown and a veil to meet with the Pope. People don't understand these things. All your church leaders, every single one of them, bow down to the Pope. Whether they're Jewish, Greek, Mexicans, blacks, all of the heads of your church, all of the heads. I'm not talking your physical pastor. He may not go bow down to the Pope. But if your Baptist organization, bow down to the Pope. Your Catholic organization, bow down to the Pope. Your Seventh-day Adventist organizations, bow down to the Pope. Your Islamic religion, bow down to the Pope. Go look it up on YouTube if you think I'm kidding. He's the head. He's Rome. It was prophesied that this was going to happen in Daniel 2. Come on, man. Wake up. So the only way to worship Yahweh, truly worship him, is to obey his voice. And I'm telling you, you can't do it in America. You can't do it in Europe. You have to be in the wilderness. All right. That's why the call for you now is to come out of her. Because Yahweh is doing something now in our time. And he waited till this time because he prophesied this time. He's doing something now in our time where he sent the ravenous bird to restore his counsel, to show and bring us back to his word, to his laws. Every time he does this, look through the scriptures, look through the Bible, look through your Judges, look through Judges and all the rest of the prophets. Every time he send a prophet to restore his laws and his Torah and his covenant back to us, is when he brought us back to a wholeness, a true nation. He's doing it now. And he's calling us to the wilderness. Jeremiah just going to read 2. There's so much. You just haven't looked at it because You're waiting for Jesus to come back. For those who are Christian. So you don't understand. But Jeremiah 31. At the same time said Yahweh, will I be your Alaim of all the families of Yaosher, and they shall be my people. Thus saith Yahweh, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness, even Yaosher, when I caused them to rest. Yahweh has appeared of old unto me, saying, yes, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness have I draw thee, or drawn thee. If you're hearing this message, it's because he's drawing you. I know you're worried. I know you have questions. But there's something inside of you that is bubbling to the words of my mouth. You cannot let fear stop you. If I'm not speaking the words of Yahweh, please move on. Anyone who speaks, thus saith Yahweh, must speak based on Torah and Toyota. They must. Outside of that, there's no truth in them. He's bringing you here because he wants to make a new covenant with you. And if you don't leave, you're going to die. Verse 31, Jeremiah 31:30. But every one shall die for his own iniquities. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. Behold, the day come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Yaosher and with the house of Yahodah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. My covenant they break. See, they break it. It's nullified. And that's why he has to make a new one. Watch this. Although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahweh, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Yaosher after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my Torah, my laws, my Toyota, in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and are their Alaim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more a man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, know Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh, for I will forgive their iniquities, and will remember their sins no more. Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel 20 and Ezekiel 20, verse 20, 34 and 37. And I will bring you out, watch this, and I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. He was the one who scattered you in these lands. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I plead with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahweh. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. He wants to make a covenant with you, and he wants to plead with you face to face. Why? Watch this now. Let's go to Ezekiel 37. Let's jump over 37. And then I'm going to finish with the clues, and then I'm done for the day. Let's go to Ezekiel 37 now. Ezekiel 37 says, I stumbled upon this one, and it's so beautiful. Ezekiel 37 and verse 26. Ezekiel 37 and verse 26. Watch this now. Moreover, in dealing with his covenant, moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant. See, this is the rock that was cut out of the mountain, but not by human hands. Struck the statue, the system of this world, break it into pieces, and the mountain, the rock, grow to a huge mountain forever. He wants to build you up forever, put you back on the place you were forever, the head and not the tail. Let's read it again. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forever. He's not making a covenant with the world. He's making a covenant with them. And you know, when you say them, you're excluding someone else. When you use the word them, you usually exclude yourself. I want them. You're including them. Them. Who are them? A particular or peculiar people. Ya'osheral. Those who can trace their lineage through the Atlantic slave trade. You are that them. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yes, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathens shall know that I am Yahweh, do sanctify Ya'osheral, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forever. I don't know about you, man, but that makes me whew, that whew. You are the children of Ya'osheral. If you can trace your lineage through the Atlantic slave trade, you are. And this is how you know. You have to have a bloodline connection through Abraham and the promised covenant. 2, you have to have a 400 years of history of enslavement. 3, you have to be brought by ship to be scattered throughout all the nations on earth. These are the 4 things that makes you know and understand that you, who can chase your lineage through the Atlantic slave trade, are the true Hebrew, the true Ya'osheral of the promise covenant made with Abraham and Yahweh. That Yahweh made with Abraham. It is you. When you understand these things, change your life. Now go check out The Ravenous Bird on YouTube. Go do it now. Once you get off here, go do it now. He's here, man. I'm going to have an interview with him. He's so busy here. Right now, we're getting ready to go on a beach. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, and we want to do a beach trip. And hopefully, maybe I can bring my computer and we can have him there. But I'm going to have The Ravenous Bird here. You're going to hear some things blow you away. But you can hear some things right now. You don't have to wait. Go on YouTube and punched up The Ravenous Bird, Ravenous. Ravenous, bird, BIRD. And then look up true name of the creator. True name of the creator. Because you're confused. You think Jesus, Jehovah, Yeshua, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. You think Yod He Vav He. You think Yahoo, Yah, Jah. You think all that is the creator's name. It is not. Go let the ravenous bird show you the truth. And then you decide whether or not you want to. Great job. You're gonna live to 90 minutes. Don't forget to take a break. I know. Yeah, I'm taking a break right now, man. I'm gonna take a break because, yeah. All right. You heard me. True name of the creator. And then look up brought by ships. So watch the true name of the creator first, brought by ships second. Then watch Keep Silent Before Me Island third, and then Leave on Wings fourth. These are the 4 topics that I want you to watch. True name of the creator, brought by ships, Keep Silent Before Me Islands, Leave on Wings. Do it before it's too late. We're coming up on an Exodus year, which is this is the Exodus year. 2023 is the Exodus year. About 160 of us are here right now. Come on down before it's too late, before the doors or the windows are closed on you. Next year, 2024, is the Jubilee year. We know that when the Jubilee comes around, some world event happens. You have to decide what you're going to do with your life. It's your life. We're not here to force anyone. We're here to give you the information. I sold my goods and I sold my house and I've said goodbye to my family and friends. I gave up my business to come here to the Philippines, Cebu, Philippines, to witness this for myself. And boy, it's the best decision I've ever made. Best decision I've ever made. I miss my sons. I miss my daughter. But you know what? I got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I got Telegram. I talk to them. I see them. Can't touch them and hug them like I normally do. Can't be at the birthday parties and stuff like that. But you know what? I can still see them. And I pray that my decision to come here will somehow sync in them that they can come here too. So I would like to believe that I go to prepare a place for them, and hopefully that they can come and see. But for me, this is my resting place. This is where I'm going to be until until I live to see Yahweh move us into the promised land where he's going to give it to us forever, or until I see his tabernacle built and we're in the wilderness where we're becoming a nation again. But regardless of the fact, I'm here because of the obedience of his word. So whatever happens to me, I am glad. I just want to thank him and pray that at the end of my last breath, that he remembers me, that my name is written in his book. That's my prayer. That my name, my wife's name, my family's name is written in his book of life. So when that day of resurrection comes, if he takes me off the planet, or somehow I forfeit my own life, I just pray that he remembers me. I hope he remembers you too. And I hope it won't be too late, because he's going to start wreaking havoc on the nations we serve as slaves. You cannot be like Lot and his wife. You cannot be in those nations. You being there is not going to stop him from destroying it. It's going to implode from within. It's going to implode from within. And things are going to get harder. You think it's hard for you now. You think the rent is going up and food is going up and all these things. They're the one controlling these things to force you into submission. Yahweh wants to truly free you. and restore you to power. The choice is yours. Do what you want. Peace.